Welcome to Classified Captures.
Steve here, and today we've got a crazy lineup of clips ranging from strange UFO sightings to conspiracies we haven't even considered. Ready to have your mind blown? Well, let's dive right in. When I sought to gather clips for today's episode, the last thing I expected to come across was the skeletal remains of a fairy. Yet somehow here we are with what appears to be a dried-up skeletal figure caught in a web. It had a pair of wings on its back that looked just like a butterfly's, but its tiny shriveled form seemed eerily human-like. We're not sure of the exact identity of the one who uploaded this, but as soon as the footage went online, theories started flooding in. Some believed this was the actual remains of a fairy that had either died naturally or got trapped in a web and perished there. Others speculated that a spider may have hunted and consumed the fairy, leaving behind its skeletal frame. Skeptics, however, weren't convinced. They argued that the figure looked too perfect to be real. When you look closely at the small skull, it appears smooth, dark, and almost plastic, more like a tiny toy than an actual creature. Having looked at it over and over, I do get where the skeptics are coming from. But you've seen it too, so what do you think we're dealing with here?
Alright, so long story short, this is what I found.
A man was walking outside after a heavy rain when he stumbled upon something strange on the sidewalk. Lying there was this odd-looking thing with numerous tentacle-like appendages. Beside it was another mysterious object, though its shape and nature were just as puzzling.
I'm just here to ask y'all, what is it? Cause at this point, bro, look at this, bro. My mind going off the deep end. I'm thinking like some Area 50, 52, 51?
At first, it looked like some kind of deep-sea creature or even something alien. It had an unsettling, lifeless appearance as if it had been washed up from somewhere unknown. People online believe it could be a bizarre marine organism carried in by the floodwaters, while others think it might be an animal organ that somehow ended up on the pavement. But if that's the case, where did it come from, and how did it get there? And if there's a marine expert here, can you confirm if this really belongs to the deep sea?
Like, bro, what is this, man? Shit, really? Am I even safe posting this? Don't ask me what this part is. Bro. Alright, so I'm gonna stop talking. I just simply want to know, what do y'all think this is?
Next up, we got a clip from a group of bikers cruising through the southern USA on a well-known yet infamous trail. As they navigated a hilly stretch of the path, something strange suddenly caught their eye. Bald, pale, and naked humanoid figures crouched near the trees at the trail's edge. One of the creatures darted across the path while the others shrank back into the shadows as if trying to stay out of sight. Because it was so dark, only their silhouettes were visible, making it hard to make out details. This particular trail, however, is said to be the hop spot for skinwalkers, though its exact location was not disclosed. The bikers skidded to a halt, completely shaken. And for bikers to freeze like that, you know the threat felt real. But can we actually verify this clip? Unfortunately, no, we can't. All we have to go on is what you and I are seeing right here. Plenty of folks in the community swear it's the real deal, while a smaller, more skeptical crowd is not so convinced. But hey, you've seen it now, so what's your take? Here we have another supposed fairy sighting. A strange red-winged creature was seen flying upwards across the sky, leaving the witness completely shocked. Upon slowing down the footage, you can make out what appears to be human-like arms flailing as they move. However, not everyone is convinced that this could be a mythical creature. Some skeptics argue that it might actually be a lacewing. It's a type of insect with delicate wings that, under the right conditions, can resemble a tiny humanoid figure in flight. While that does sound logical, lovers of the paranormal are not particularly enthused about trying to be logical with everything. Either way, you've seen it yourself, so what do you think we're dealing with here?
What is that?
Next, we got a large group of friends and family that were gathered for a late-night outdoor movie session. They'd set up a big screen on the patio and were enjoying their time when one of them noticed something strange in the darkness.
What is that?
It was a very tall, dark figure, so dark that it stood out even in the shadows. One of the men called out to it, and at that moment, a pale face slowly lifted and looked in his direction. It seemed as though whatever this was had just realized it had been spotted. What happens next remains a mystery as the video abruptly ends there. Those who saw the footage were left unsettled. Some believe it was just an intruder, while others are convinced this was an actual entity watching them from the darkness. There's also the possibility of the whole thing being a hoax, but who will go through all that trouble to create and post a fake video?
On second thought, people on the internet do that, don't they?
What is that?
This strange creature was found washed ashore at a port, and its appearance has left many baffled. It was huge, with smooth, shiny skin and a fish-like tail. The body just floated in the water as people gathered around recorded videos of the mysterious find. It looks like a seal or a sea lion, but its head is oddly shaped, more like that of a serpent. Its neck appears longer than usual, adding to its strange, almost otherworldly look. The creature's body had a black and white pattern, but one of the most unusual details was the absence of visible whiskers, which are typically found on seals and sea lions. So what exactly is this animal? Could it be a rare marine creature, an unknown species, or possibly even something not yet classified by science? This footage comes from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. A man was driving through the neighborhood when he noticed something unusual in the sky. A helicopter was flying overhead, but what really caught his attention were two shiny orbs hovering not far from it. At first, some might assume the orbs were just lens reflections, but the man was certain that wasn't the case. The objects appeared to be actually floating in the air, separate from the helicopter. What makes this even more intriguing is that this was broad daylight, making it easier to clearly see both the aircraft and the mysterious orbs. Now, here's the big question. Were these orbs somehow connected to the helicopter, or was their presence just a coincidence? We've seen many cases where military aircraft seem to interact with or even chase unidentified flying objects. Could that be happening here, or is there a more rational explanation? If there is, kindly share. How does your boss give out bonuses at work? Well, take a look at this. In the footage, a long table is covered with stacks of cash and employees gather around it, grabbing as much as they can. But this is not a bank heist, it's actually a reward ceremony at a company in China. The rules are simple. Employees can take as much money as they can grab, but the catch is that they must be able to count the total amount they've collected. If they get it right, they get to keep it. Some people reportedly walked away with thousands of dollars. It's definitely an unusual way to hand out bonuses. Imagine if more companies did something like this. Do you think it would be a good idea? Also, do you have a strategy to carry a lot more money in a situation like this? If you do, kindly share. Who knows, someone here might end up working for a Chinese company soon, assuming this is true, of course. So this homeowner got home to find something truly bizarre on the floor. It was a strange, wriggling mass that looked like a tiny cluster of insects or worms. Honestly, it's hard to tell. So what is this? One possible explanation is that this could be a cluster of fungus gnat larvae which tend to move in a swarm-like pattern, creating the illusion of a single shifting entity. Another possibility is that this could be horsehair worms, a parasitic worm species known for their eerie movements. Whatever it is, it's definitely not something you'd want to find in your home. Well, at least I wouldn't. This video was taken in the US back in 2023. Someone came across a strange glowing circle in the sky. It was very clear against the blue sky and had an almost ethereal appearance. Most people who saw the footage quickly labeled it as a portal given its circular shape and the mysterious glow surrounding it. But this raises a bigger question. Why are these portal-like structures suddenly appearing all over the world? One commenter had an interesting theory. They claim that these portals have always been there, but humans have only now reached a level of consciousness where we can finally perceive them. It's a strange idea, but surprisingly many people seem to align with and believe it. So what do you think? A man had just moved into his new home and was settling in with his 2 dogs when he had an encounter that seemed to awaken something in the house. That day, he was playing with his dogs, pretending his hand was a gun and shooting at them. As part of their game, he caused them to fall over dramatically. Afterwards, he went to grab them some treats. As he walked into the room, he noticed something strange. A drawer on the table suddenly slid open on its own. At first, he brushed it off and gave the dogs their treats, but as he was putting the treats away, it happened again. That's when he started to pay attention. From that day on, bizarre things began happening around the house. One night, he heard strange noises coming from upstairs. When he went to check, he saw a door opening and closing by itself. There was no one there, no wind, and no explanation. Growing uneasy, he decided to set up cameras around the house. In one clip, while working on his laptop at the dining table, he heard noises from the kitchen. When he walked in, he saw the cabinet doors swinging open and plates crashing to the floor, but there was nothing that could have caused them to fall. So what was happening? After a little digging, he discovered that his home was built in 1920, and over the years, strange things have happened there. For instance, a gang member was shot and killed inside the house, and later homeowner lost their child. And instead of moving on, they buried the child inside the home and even built a small memorial. That is when people started to piece things together. Some believe that the gunshot game with his dogs may have triggered the spirit of the slain gang member, while the child's spirit may also still be lingering. The man insists he'd never experienced anything paranormal until that day. So, could his playful actions have stirred something up? Many seem to think so. So what about you?
Hello?
Have you ever heard of flock cameras? They look like solar panels mounted on poles and are positioned all over the US. These cameras are designed to capture details of your car, including your license plate, and track its movements. This is the latest technology that authorities use to monitor vehicles, often for law enforcement purposes. These cameras can gather a lot of data, including some details of your car's interior. They're completely legal and are already installed in many areas. What's even more shocking is that you might have seen one without even realizing it was a camera. Have you ever noticed these in your neighborhood? A girl invited her medium friend over to her house, and as soon as the medium arrived, she sensed something off about the place. Following her intuition, she directed them to dig a specific spot in the house. What they uncovered beneath the ground was deeply unsettling. First, they found a long string, and as they pulled it out, it was tied to a small piece of wood and an odd-looking bone, but that wasn't all. As they kept digging, they came across a small bundle of cotton-like sheet, and as they unraveled it, an overwhelming foul smell filled the air. Now, we don't get much information from the clip on what this really was, but could this have been some kind of buried curse or ritualistic object? Or was it just a strange coincidence? Either way, this left them deeply disturbed. This image was captured by a trail camera set up at the Bristol Zoo, and it left the staff completely shaken, and this is why. The zoo has no record of such a creature in its possession, and this mysterious figure doesn't resemble any known animal they care for. The strange being appears small, roughly the size of a rat, with an eerie set of glowing eyes. At first, it seems almost otherworldly. However, there's an actual animal that bears a striking resemblance to this mystery creature, and that is a chevrotan. Sometimes called the mouse deer, it's a tiny hoofed mammal primarily found in Asia. While the chevrotan is known to exist, it's rarely seen, and many fear that some of its species are on the verge of extinction. Could this be an undocumented sighting of one outside its natural habitat, or is there something more mysterious at play? A woman was frying a batch of eggs when she noticed something strange. One of the eggs had a green tint to it. Odd, right? But what happened next is even weirder. When she cracked the second batch of eggs directly into the hot pan, a thin plastic-like sheet formed around the edges of the egg, and when she tapped on it, it didn't sound like an egg at all. This raised concerns about our food supply, especially since people have reported strange occurrences with food before, like rubbery meat and overly starchy fruits. Could this be another case of artificial food making its way into the kitchens? Some commenters under the original post, however, offered more grounded and logical explanations. One pointed out that eggs are overcooked at high heat, the water inside evaporates and the proteins tighten, creating a rubbery or plastic-like texture. Another mentioned that what she saw could have been the chalazae, a natural stringy part of an egg that holds the yolk in place. While these explanations seem reasonable, they don't fully account for the countless times people have reported meat looking and feeling like plastic. So what do you think? Is this just a cooking mishap, or is something more concerning happening with our food? There has always been a conspiracy theory about the government spraying unknown substances into our skies through chemtrails. However, skeptics have repeatedly debunked this, claiming that what people are seeing are just contrails. One expert explains that contrails are simply frozen water vapor that gets trapped in the atmosphere, appearing as white streaks in the sky before disappearing within a few moments. But then he points out something interesting. What we see in the sky today doesn't behave like traditional contrails. They linger for much longer and spread out in ways that seem unnatural. Another person then brings up chemtrails, arguing that these streaks might contain unknown chemicals being deliberately released into the atmosphere. According to this theory, chemtrails could have serious health or environmental effects, but there's little official acknowledgement of their existence. So what do you think? Are we just overanalyzing contrails, or is there more to chemtrails than we're being told?
Contrails, not the chemical, the contrails occur because of cold air, minus 30. It takes high altitude, around 30,000 feet plus.
Chemtrails are indeed real. They're spraying almost every day. I watch the clouds and watch the spraying program going on. I want to tell you that we're in very great danger.
对，看到吗？看到吗？它脚毛也露点头都没有了，到这有了，看到吗？
它是一段有它，一段没有它。
看到吗？到这有了吧？
它是老，
暂停，这清楚了，
暂停。
你看老师以为是用了。
This eerie footage was captured by a neighbor's security camera in a small community. Just 3 days after a resident had passed away, something shocking was spotted: her ghost walking across the street toward her home. In the video, you can clearly see the figure of a woman carrying a large bag over her shoulder. But what's truly unsettling is that her body looks almost transparent. The neighbors were stunned when they watched the footage. They claimed the figure moved exactly like the woman who had died. The way she walked, the bag she carried, even her posture and clothing, everything was identical. Some believe this could be a mimic spirit, an entity taking her form to deceive people. Others argue that it's truly her spirit trapped in the routine of her old life, unable to accept that she's passed away. Recently, Elon Musk shared a spreadsheet showing the number of people in different age groups who were still alive in the US and receiving Social Security benefits. The data was shocking. Just looking at people aged 100 and below, there were hundreds of thousands still receiving payments. But the real surprise is, according to the spreadsheet, there were about 3.4 million people aged 120 to 129 years old in the United States alone. That number is staggering, almost unbelievable. Could there really be that many extremely old people still alive? Now, we know that this information supposedly comes from official Social Security records, but how can we be sure this data isn't fabricated? Can anyone throw numbers into the spreadsheet and claim it's real? But without actual proof, we may never truly know. But then again, why would someone like Elon Musk lie? On second thought, scratch that. What do you guys think of the whole thing?
On second thought, why would Elon Musk lie? On second thought, scratch that.
A woman was in her room watching TV when she noticed something unsettling from the room opposite hers. Both doors were open, but from one corner of one, a strange, creepy face was peeking at her. Her heart raced as she tried to make sense of what she was seeing. She stood up cautiously, preparing for the worst, only to realize it wasn't a ghost or some eerie presence. Instead, it was just a mannequin head with a bushy wig on it. A moment of pure terror turned into an awkward laugh as she realized she had scared herself over a misplaced object. A farmer in El Salvador woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of his dogs barking frantically. He considered going outside to check, but fear held him back. Something about the way his dogs were acting made him uneasy. The next morning, curiosity got the better of him, so he reviewed his security footage. And after seeing what was on the tape, he was relieved that he hadn't stepped outside that night. In the video, the farm appears quiet at first, but then the dogs start barking aggressively. As the camera continues to roll, something strange emerges. It was a humanoid figure, almost transparent, moving across the scene. One of the dogs runs towards it, barking and trying to follow, but then hesitates and backs away, still barking but no longer advancing. The farmer was so shocked by this. What do you think it is? Have you heard of the haunted train tracks in Texas? No? Well, take a look at this footage before I say anything else.
San Antonio, Texas, with the haunted railroad tracks. Gonna see if this works. Out here, you put the vehicle in neutral, supposedly, and some kids that died out here push you over the railroad tracks. So we'll see if it happens, if it works or not.
Couple visited the site and decided to test a well-known legend. They sprinkled baby powder on the back of their car, then sat inside and put the vehicle in neutral. To their shock, the car began to move on its own, rolling across the train tracks. When they stepped out to check, they found small handprints left in the powder. This train track is said to be haunted by the spirits of little children who tragically lost their lives in a train accident. According to the legend, if you park your car near the tracks and leave it in neutral, the spirits of the children will push it over the tracks. The only way to prove their presence is by dusting powder on the car to capture the ghostly fingerprints. It's a chilling story, but what if someone had stayed outside the car to record from another angle? Could they have caught something moving the car? Or would it have proven that there was nothing supernatural at all? What do you think?
The vehicle in neutral, and I'm gonna turn it off.
And we're moving.
Oh my god. We're like getting pushed over right now. The car is off.
Car is off. My foot's right here. Nothing's on.
Oh, we went over! Ah! Oh my god.
Have you ever wondered what entertainment is really about? Back in the days of the Roman Empire, when rulers wanted to assert their power and keep the people distracted, they would organize lavish feasts and grand games in the Colosseum. The spectacle of entertainment like gladiator fights, chariot races, and endless feasting kept the public's attention away from the pressing societal issues. Fast forward to today, and the tactic remains eerily similar. Massive sporting events like the Olympics, World Championships, and other grand spectacles dominate the media. Stadiums are built in the same style as ancient arenas, and during these events, the entire world seems fixated on the games. News outlets flood their coverage with sports stories, social media is buzzing, and for a brief moment, all eyes are on the competition. But what happens behind the scenes while everyone's distracted? What decisions slip by you unnoticed? It makes you wonder, has entertainment always been about enjoyment, or has it always served as a tool for control? In our daily lives, we say a lot of things, but we have to be very careful because our words are believed to hold great power over us. There was an experiment conducted by a scientist where he spoke to different sets of water. To one set, he spoke positive and kind words, while to the other he spoke negatively. Afterwards, both sets of water were frozen, and when observed under a microscope, the results were striking. The water that had received positive words formed beautiful, symmetrical ice crystals, while the negatively spoken to water had distorted, broken, and unappealing patterns. This experiment gained a lot of attention as it seemed to suggest that words and energy could directly affect matter. However, the entire study was later debunked and proven to be unreliable. Even so, don't let that stop you from speaking kindly to yourself and others. Science or not, positive words have the power to uplift, encourage, and shape the way we see our world. In Mexico, there's a place known as Pena de Lobos. Pena de Lobos in Mexico is often referred to as Mexico's version of the Skinwalker Ranch. It's a place filled with paranormal activity. People have reported ghosts, fairies, elves, interdimensional beings, UFOs, strange creatures, and even shadow figures lurking in the area. According to the current owner of the ranch, when he first tried to buy the land, the previous inhabitants warned him against it, saying the place is inhabited by the devil. But he went through with the purchase anyway. Over time, he noticed that the area had an intense magnetic field, which he believes acts like a wormhole or portal, allowing entities from other dimensions to enter our world. He also mentioned that during October and November, these entities become even more active and aggressive, making it especially dangerous time to visit. Some people have even attempted rituals to summon these beings, but it's never ended well. So what do you think? Would you dare to visit Pena de Lobos?
Decían que era el diablo, o sea que el diablo estaba aquí y que por eso pasaban tantas cosas. ¿Qué es lo que pasa? Se abren puertas dimensionales en este lugar, agujeros de gusano, como lo calificó Einstein y Russell, porque existe un campo magnético constante en este lugar debido a yacimientos de cuarzo, magnetita y corrientes subterráneas.
A man was home alone one day when he started hearing strange noises in the house. At first he looked around but found nothing. He brushed it off, convincing himself it was just his imagination. But then it happened again. Another time, while home alone, he was in the living room playing a game when he suddenly felt uneasy, like something was off. Deciding to check it out, he walked toward the bedroom and bathroom, and that's when he saw it. A hand gripped the door frame for just a moment before vanishing into the corner. His heart pounded, but despite his fear, he pushed himself to investigate. He checked every inch of the room, the closet, under the bed, but there was nothing, no sign that anyone had been there at all. Feeling unsettled, he returned to the living room, but that's when he noticed something even stranger. The plushies that had been on the single-seated sofa were now placed neatly on the large couch. He was certain they hadn't been there before. Something or someone was in the house with him, but what could it be?
I'm pretty sure I'm seeing something go, like, in and out of that hallway back there. Oh my, what the f*** is that?
Two men in Puerto Rico witnessed something strange in the night sky. A mysterious object moved silently above them, emitting a bright, diverging light. There were no visible propellers, no wings, and no sound, just the eerie glow shifting as it glided effortlessly through the sky. The men watched in shock, unsure of what they were seeing. The object didn't behave like a regular aircraft. It didn't blink like an airplane or make any noise like a helicopter. It simply floated. Many who saw the footage believed it was a UFO. Puerto Rico has had its fair share of strange sky sightings, and some say the island is a hotspot for such encounters. Others, however, argue that it could have been a high-tech drone or even a secret military aircraft being tested in the area. Despite these theories, the truth remains unknown. So what do you think it was?
Yo no sé.
Vaya. Los que estén en el live salgan afuera a ver esta vaina.
What's going on here, you ask? Well, this cat is walking on the tiles as if it's on a treadmill. It keeps stepping forward, but it's not making any progress, almost like the floor is moving under it. Then a man walks by and notices the cat's strange behavior. He stops to watch, and as soon as the cat notices him, it turns to approach him. But when the man walks away, the cat immediately goes back to its treadmill walk. Just how is this cat doing that? Could it be an optical illusion caused by the texture of the tiles, or does this cat have some sort of superpower? Or am I just ignorant about cats since I've only ever owned dogs? There's another possibility. Maybe, just maybe, the cat just finished watching Michael Jackson's moonwalk. Sounds crazy, but think about it. How many do you know that can resist MJ's moonwalk? I know I can't. Hee hee.
I'm a cat, you know it. I'm just gonna go mobile for a second. Okay, back.
Back! That was some nice moonwalking, even if I do say so myself. Now, a resident in an apartment in Taipei recorded this eerie video at 2 a.m. The night was calm, but suddenly a loud sound echoed through the city. At first, it sounded like a siren, but as the sound continued, it slowly changed into something different. Toward the end, it no longer sounded like a siren, but more like the roar of a heavy rain. However, there was no rain that night, no storm, no strong winds, just the strange, unexplainable noise reverberating through the dark streets. Many who have heard the recording have speculated about what it could be. Some believe it was a malfunctioning warning system, while others think it could have been an underground construction or even an unknown natural phenomenon. A few more imaginative theories suggest it might be something paranormal, like an eerie signal from another dimension, or even a sound linked to an impending event. Whatever the cause, the mysterious sound left many unsettled, so what do you think it is? Watch this wooden sculpture of a troll sitting on a chair. As you pass across its face, the hollow-carved eyes seem to follow you, creating an eerie illusion, almost as if the statue were alive when it clearly isn't. In ancient Danish legends, it is said the giant trolls once roamed the forest, acting as protectors of nature. This particular sculpture was created by artist Thomas Dambo. He's known for building massive troll-like figures using recycled wood. He travels the world constructing these towering wooden beings, bringing folklore to life uniquely and artistically. While this is just a work of art and an optical illusion, there's something about the troll's expression that feels unsettling. Its gaze seems to pierce through you, sending a chill down your spine. Could there be something more to these sculptures than meets the eye?
Ahí toca, mira. No, burla. Una mano arrastrando.
A woman was driving behind an ambulance when she noticed something chilling. A hand was sticking out from the door, dragging along the road as the vehicle sped forward. What made it even more unsettling was that the paramedics inside didn't seem to notice. The woman honked her horn repeatedly, trying to get their attention. Hopefully, they eventually noticed and fixed the situation, because if that person was still alive, the injury could have been severe. But even if they weren't, the sight alone was deeply disturbing. But was this a tragic oversight, or was something far more eerie happening here?
Ahí quédate, espérame.
A man was woken up in the middle of the night by a loud banging on his front door. The noise was so intense that it even woke up his baby, who began crying restlessly. So he got out of bed and walked downstairs to check. He unlatched the door, peeked outside, but the moment he moved the curtains to look, the banging suddenly stopped. Confused, he stood there for a moment, listening. Everything was silent, but as soon as he let the curtains fall back into place, the banging started again. Over and over, the same thing happened. Whenever he moved the curtain to look, the noise would cease, but the moment he stepped away, it would resume. It was 2:30 a.m., and the baby's cries only added to the eerie tension in the house. Something was out there. But if it was a person, why would they stop making noise every time he looked? And if it wasn't human, then what was trying to get in?
No hay nadie, no hay nadie. No, voy otra vez.
Complete segments of Todd Standing's filming of Sasquatches in another area where he's worked on, and with him explaining the background, which is so important. And I'm firmly convinced that he has filmed Sasquatch.
Back in 2022, a documentary was being filmed in Radium Hot Springs, Canada. A researcher was working on a documentary about Bigfoot. At the time, he didn't find any evidence of the creature, but later, while reviewing his footage, he came across something strange. In the background of one of his shots, there was a white, furred figure peeking out from behind a tree. Just look at that. Only the head is visible, making it hard to determine its full features. But whatever it was, it did not look like any known animal. The cryptid community was thrilled by the discovery. Could this be proof of an elusive white Bigfoot, or is there another explanation?
Complete segments of Todd Standing's filming of Sasquatches in another area where he's worked on, and with him explaining the background, which is so important. And I'm firmly convinced that he has filmed Sasquatch.
Next, we have this massive, pale-colored creature emerge from the water, resembling a giant tongue as it wriggles with an eerie grace. But here's the kicker. This peculiar entity is devoid of any discernible features. No eyes, no nose, just a smooth, featureless surface undulating in the currents. Now, what could this mysterious phenomenon possibly be? Is it a previously undiscovered sea creature lurking in the depths and defying all attempts at classification? Or could it be a relic of some ancient, otherworldly entity emerging to confound and astonish unsuspecting observers? The possibilities are as vast as the ocean itself, leaving us to wonder and speculate about the secrets that lie beneath the waves. During the winter of 2018, a hiker was taking a leisurely walk through the snow-covered terrain of Oklahoma when he stumbled upon a strange and unusual footprint. Upon closer examination, the hiker realized that it was not a footprint of a regular animal, but had 3 distinct clawed toes and an upper part of the foot that was wider than the lower part. The hiker took a picture of the print with his foot beside it to show the stark difference in size. It was clear that this print was much larger than a regular animal's, leading to the assumption that it was made by a big animal. But what animal exactly could it be? After sharing the picture online, some suggested that it could be the footprint of a dogman, a cryptid creature that is said to have the characteristics of both a human and a canine. While there's no concrete evidence to support this theory, the strange characteristics of the footprint have certainly piqued the curiosity of many. What do you think about this intriguing discovery? Does hell exist on Earth, or is it in another plane or dimension? I've always wondered about this growing up, and these next clips allegedly hold the answer. According to the original posters of these clips, they discovered hell on Earth where individuals were burning and not dying, sort of like an eternal torment with people perpetually screaming. As much as I want to believe this clip and satisfy my curiosity, they just don't add up. It feels like the screams were edited into the clips and the locations look like an industrial place. This is just a blatant attempt to peddle falsehoods, and I'm very upset. Why am I upset again? Doesn't the internet have a lot of these false videos? Anyway, I would really want to know what the places shown in these clips really do. Could someone educate me? I'm not entirely certain if this is a glitch in the Matrix or some sort of meteor shower gone awry. Those peculiar lights descending from the sky and plunging into the river are certainly out of the ordinary. While some speculate that it might be fireworks cascading into the water, we can't be entirely certain of that explanation. There's an eerie quality to the event that leaves room for doubt. What's your take on it? This video was recorded on February the 4th, 2024 from a passenger plane flying at 30,000 feet. While filming, the camera captured a peculiar object hidden among the clouds beneath the plane. The craft was not immediately visible as it did not resemble your typical aircraft or any other known object for that matter. It's unclear why the craft was hidden among the clouds, and this raises many questions about its origin and purpose. Could it be some sort of experimental aircraft or perhaps a hidden military vehicle? Alternatively, some have suggested that it could be a case of pareidolia, the tendency for the human brain to perceive patterns and shapes where none exist. Regardless of its true nature, this strange sighting has sparked a great deal of curiosity and speculation among those who've seen the footage. Many are eager to learn more about the craft and what it could mean for the future of aviation and space travel. Through the centuries, the world map has undergone numerous transformations, and even now, new territories are still being discovered on our planet.
Around any of these areas, okay? There's North America, South America, Africa, India, Russia, China. Okay, so very similar to this map.
In this clip, a man showcases an updated world map and an old one from 1587, highlighting the differences between the two.
Australia. There is no Australia here because it hasn't been discovered yet. This is 1587. Australia wasn't discovered until 1606, so that's why that's not there. But my main question is...
One of the significant observations made was the lack of Australia on the old map. This raises the question of how a continent so vast could have been unknown to the cartographers of that era. Similarly, Antarctica was also not present on the old map, and the regions were considered as land. The question arises as to whether the lack of these territories was due to a lack of knowledge at the time, or if there is more to it. Some people even speculate that the existence of Antarctica is a scam. What do you think? And before our final video for the day, take a look at my favorite comment from the original post. Do you get it?
All this land. And second thing, what froze them? What happened between 1587 and 1892 where those areas got frozen?
Still on creatures from the lower depths, take a look at this clip. What does it remind you of? What does this look like? It's not too hard to guess. A lower body that looks fishy and an upper body that's, well, human. That's gotta be a mermaid, hasn't it? The body proportions, however, defy what we normally see, and there's something odd about the clip. I just can't put my finger on it. It offsets the whole thing and prevents it from feeling like the usual clips we see of mermaids. I just can't put my finger on it, but can you help? An observer from a distance saw a group of bulls dashing in front of the woodlands in Alberta, Canada. While watching the herd, the observer noticed something else walking by. As they looked closer, they realized that it was a massive, furry creature with broad shoulders and a coned head. The creature's size and description fit the description of a Bigfoot, a legendary ape-like creature that's believed to inhabit remote forests and mountainous regions across North America. This video footage of UFOs flying over the surface of the moon was captured via telescope on Earth. The video shows multiple unidentified flying objects appearing to fly in formation over the moon's surface. All the objects have different shapes and sizes which don't match the tech that we have here on Earth. This has sparked a lot of debate among people who are interested in extraterrestrial life. Some people believe that these objects are proof of the existence of aliens on the moon, while skeptics believe that they are simply satellites or debris in space. There have been age-old conspiracies about the existence of aliens on the moon, and this video has reignited discussions about them. Some people have suggested that there might be a secret base on the moon that's being used by aliens, while others think that these objects might be evidence of secret government operations. They may be simply debris or satellites, but it's also possible that there's something else entirely. What do you think? I know you're waiting for the next clip, but my new friend Bigfoot asked me to ask you if you have liked and subscribed, and if you haven't, please do so now. Thank you. Take a look at this. A man cuts out the EMV chip, the golden box on a credit card, and inserts it into the SIM card slot of his phone. Incredibly, it connects to a network. What kind of hack is this, and how is it even possible? EMV chips are designed for secure transactions, holding encrypted data that's only supposed to work with payment terminals. But here we see it behaving like a SIM card connecting to a mobile network. There's absolutely no way this is real. We say plants are living things. They can eat, grow, and die. However, they're not as mobile as animals and humans. Their roots plant them firmly in the soil, so walking plants are not a thing, or so I thought until I came across this footage. Someone noticed that the tree in his backyard just uprooted itself from the soil and left. Just look at this. There are no strings or machines around pulling it out. In the subsequent clips, we see a farmer attending to his small plants in a bed when out of nowhere the plants just dashed off. They remind me of the Ents from J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth ancient tree-like beings that can walk and talk. Could there be a basis in reality for such fantastical creatures? If these sightings are genuine, they could signify an entirely new aspect of plant life that we have yet to understand. Imagine the implications for ecology and biology if certain plants could move to new locations. Okay, maybe I shouldn't get ahead of myself. The clips could very well be fake. What do you guys think, though? This video of a mysterious craft flying over Miami has caused some confusion and controversy. The footage was captured by an eyewitness who believed they had witnessed an unidentified flying object. However, others soon came forward to suggest that the craft in question was a military stealth bomber. It's not hard to see why the eyewitness might have been confused. The craft in question is sleek and black and moves with remarkable speed and agility. It's the kind of vehicle that looks like it could come from another planet. However, closer inspection reveals that it's a military aircraft. Despite the clarification, the sighting has caused some concern among locals. Miami has been on edge since an alleged alien sighting a few months ago, and many people are worried that this latest sighting might be evidence of a more sinister phenomenon. What do you think?
It was like using the force on a cursor.
Now let's talk about scientific interventions. Meet the first patient to undergo the groundbreaking Starlink brain transplant, a procedure that seems to be yielding promising results thus far.
Playing chess, and so this is one of the things that y'all have enabled me to do, something that I wasn't able to really do much the last few years, especially not like this.
Reports indicate that the patient's cognitive abilities have shown marked improvement, as evidenced by his adeptness at playing chess on the computer, an accomplishment he previously struggled to achieve. This early success raises intriguing questions about the potential enhancements in intelligence and cognitive function that may accompany the completion of the procedure. What do you think about the whole thing, and would you get one if you had the chance to?
Perfect. I would say that we have run into some issues. I don't want people to think that it is like this is the end of the journey. There's still a lot of work to be done, but it has already changed my life.
Scientists have allegedly discovered a 2-billion-year-old nuclear reactor in Africa. Alongside this discovery, they found that uranium has already been extracted from the site. This remarkable discovery has stunned the scientific community. Could ancient civilizations really be much smarter than we give them credit for? There are some who seem to think so, like this member of our paranormal community. The reactor, located in MacLeod, Gabon, is believed to have functioned for about 500,000 years. It might have operated through a natural chain reaction using water as a neutron moderator, much like our modern nuclear reactors. Dr. Seaborg, a Nobel Prize-winning chemist who helped discover plutonium, stated that the conditions and the setup of the MacLeod reactor suggest a level of sophistication that seems beyond what we previously believed ancient humans could achieve. Is there a chance we're just repeating their lives and possibly making the same mistakes they made that made these technologies disappear from our history books? A part of me thinks so, but what are your thoughts? In this next footage, a man is seen bent over a river, waving his hand in the water as a large creature approaches from below. I don't know if this is a death wish or what, but it looks like a giant crocodile to me. If it's a crocodile, the man's bravery or recklessness is astonishing. Crocodiles are powerful predators, and getting this close to one is incredibly risky. On the other hand, if it's just a large fish, the situation takes on a completely different tone. Perhaps the man is aware of what's really in the water and is just interacting with a curious but harmless aquatic creature. It's hard to say, but what do you think is happening here? On the shores of an unknown location, this massive creature was discovered, and it looked quite peculiar. Its skin was covered with a thick layer of dust, which made it even more difficult to identify the exact species. The creature appeared to be deceased, and its eyes were bulging out, which was quite a disturbing sight. The size of the creature was enormous, which made it even more intriguing to examine. It's still unclear whether it's a new species of fish or an unknown creature that's been living in the depths of the sea. Further analysis and research are required to determine its exact origin and species, but what do you think it is? During this gathering, a small and unusual creature was present, unbeknownst to most of the attendees. The creature had striking animalistic features, particularly noticeable in its ears and face, which stood out from the typical appearance of cats or dogs. It was not a common pet, nor did it resemble a rag. A young girl who stumbled upon the creature identified it as a duende, a mythical creature from Latin American folklore. Despite the excitement surrounding the gathering, the creature remained unperturbed, sitting silently and calmly, observing the contestants as they prepared to swim. What do you think it was doing there? What would you have done if you were the one who'd noticed it? Let us know in the comments section. According to reports, an alleged UFO crash occurred in Russia in 1937. The incident involved extraterrestrial beings, and some of their bodies were recovered from the crash site. However, these beings were already dead. The incident was initially kept under wraps, but over time, people began talking about it, and some footage has emerged that is believed to be evidence of the incident. The footage shows the corpse of a being lying on the ground. However, what's interesting is that the being appears to look eerily similar to an emaciated human body rather than a stereotypical image of an alien we often see in movies. The being's physical features include long fingers, a large head, and an elongated body. The video has sparked a lot of debate, with many people in the comments section suggesting that the being may not be alien after all. Naturally, the incident is one of many that have fueled speculation about the existence of extraterrestrial life and the possible interactions with humans. While the truth about this incident may never be fully known, it remains intriguing. So what do you think? Is this an actual alien or just a hoax? Moving away from aliens, what are your thoughts on beings living in the underground, aka our sewage systems? Sounds comical, right? Well, how'd you explain this? Yep, these were captured by everyday folk like you and I. These are random encounters that showed individuals or people picking things from the surface world. I know it sounds funny, but there have been many instances like this. What do you think might be going on in such situations? Some have suggested they are kids playing, but that wouldn't make sense. Which parent would allow their kids to play in the sewage systems? How did they get there in the first place? Others have also suggested that they may be demons trying to make it to the surface world. Now, this seems like it's overreaching a bit. If demons can escape hell, I doubt our sewage systems would be capable of holding them. Forgive me for sounding pessimistic, but I'm just thinking through these facts. What do you guys think, though? Could there be a reason why these things are coming up, or do you think the entire thing is a hoax? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Many stories have circulated about people who have allegedly captured footage of skinwalkers, but this particular video is especially intriguing. It shows a skinwalker during a transformation. The incident took place in the Skinwalker Ranch, where the person was walking through a deserted area when they stumbled upon a strange-looking creature perched on the rocks. At first glance, it seemed like a crouched human, but as the person kept filming, they noticed that the creature was transforming into a cat-like being. The transformation appeared to start from the feet and move up to the head. As the creature continued to transform, it became more apparent that this was a dark-colored panther. Once the transformation was complete, the panther jumped over the rocks and walked off into the wilderness. It was an eerie sight to behold, and the person recording the video was visibly shaken by the experience. This type of behavior is typical of skinwalkers, which are believed to be shapeshifters who can transform into any animal they desire. What are your thoughts on this intriguing and mysterious encounter? Another day, another UFO sighting, but this time with a twist. Witnesses report an unconventional craft hovering in the sky resembling an acorn. While saucers and octopus-shaped UFOs often dominate the reports, this sighting introduces a new and intriguing variation to the mix. The peculiar shape of the craft sparks a wave of speculation and intrigue among enthusiasts and skeptics alike. Could this unconventional design hint at a new wave of extraterrestrial technology, or is there a more earthly explanation waiting to be uncovered? Julius calls it fake, but what do you guys also think? Do you remember the peculiar anomaly that caught our attention in Africa at the beginning of April? Well, it's resurfaced again, but this time it was observed near Antarctica not too far from South Africa. Reports suggest that huge waves were seen swamping over the area, which is quite intriguing. However, further investigation reveals that such waves are not entirely uncommon in South Africa. Similar occurrences have been reported in locations like Queensbury Bay and East London. A user on one of our platforms made a profound input on the subject. Someone needs to look up this old video. Something like 15 years ago, there was a satellite image of waves reaching over 100 feet. It was in this area. That's why cargo ships don't travel the roof directly across South America. Ships get ripped apart. I'm sure there is something going on, but this has been well documented for decades. I remember the video as well from cargo ships of waves covering these massive ships. Naturally, the masses believe something odd is happening here, perhaps a secret government project causing these strange occurrences. They still hold onto the idea that even if it's not a government project, the government is covering things up. Our scientists tell it that these waves are caused by a combination of factors, including strong winds, ocean currents, and underwater topography. This causes them to sometimes reach heights of over 30 meters, making them a significant danger to ships and other vessels. So are these waves just waves, or could there be more to them? Has your food ever tried to escape from your plate? I'm not talking about live food, no. I mean a freshly prepared meal. Well, no. Take a look at this clip. Yep, this is real. We did our research and confirmed the clip was very authentic. So what are we dealing with here? Well, a number of individuals believe the meat is possessed. While that sounds interesting, I'm actually wondering why spirits would want to possess meat. Does it have some nutritional value, or does it allow them access to the bodies of those who consume it? Well, that will be interesting to ponder. It turns out it's not really the case. After some hours of researching, we found out what you are seeing on your screens is now perfectly normal. It turns out that whenever freshly chopped animal meat appears to move, it's often due to nerve endings that haven't completely died yet. Even after an animal is slaughtered, some nerve impulses can still fire off, causing muscles to contract and twitch. This phenomenon can make it seem like the meat is moving, just like we're seeing, but it's just the result of residual nerve activity. Additionally, certain chemical reactions and electrical impulses within the muscle tissues can contribute to these movements. It's more common in freshly slaughtered meat and tends to subside as the meat begins to cool and rigor mortis sets in. What do you think, though? Do you agree? Well, some in the original post didn't think so. Take a look at some of my favorite comments. Take a look at what this underwater camera captured. It's not just the lights falling from the intriguing sky, there's something massive lurking beneath the surface. This creature captured on the camera isn't your typical whale or shark. It bears a striking resemblance to prehistoric fish. It's as if a creature from the depths of time has resurfaced, adding another layer of mystery to the already perplexing events unfolding before us. What do you make of this unexpected discovery? Now, what do we have here? A fisherman went to sea, and among the usual catch, he found this translucent, insect-like creature wriggling in his net. Its strange appearance captivates those who see it, sparking curiosity and speculation. What could this creature be, and where did it come from? Some suggest it might be an extraterrestrial visitor from distant planets. Others propose it could be a new species yet to be identified. You have seen it too now, so what do you think? Next, we've got today's bonus segment. Before I show you what I've got for you today, though, I wanted to give a shout out to some of you who did well with our last bonus question. The best answer for me came from Karen Edmondson 462. We look forward to more responses from you. Now for today's bonus segment. Do you think this is a real dog? If it is, let us know the specific species it is and an interesting fact about it, like at Karen Edmondson 462. I can't wait to read your responses. We often hear about muscle memory, where living things repeat actions they've done for a long time almost instinctively. But did you know there's also something called the shape memory effect? This phenomenon typically occurs in materials like nickel-titanium alloys, and it's absolutely fascinating to watch. Just look at this. A piece of shapeless metal is placed on a surface, and suddenly it begins to wiggle and twist. It transforms into the shape of a paperclip. It's not magic, it's science. Next, you have a small spring that's been stretched out. It also immediately shrinks back into a tightly coiled spring. These materials have something similar to a memory. When heated, they remember their original form and return to it, no matter how much they've been deformed. This happens because of their unique molecular structure, which allows them to revert to their predetermined shape when exposed to the right conditions. Incredible, isn't it? I saw some comments underneath the original post that had me first laughing and then thinking, I know it's not related, but it would be great if we could do this, wouldn't it? This image was taken in North Queensland, Australia. According to the witness, while walking through the bush, he spotted a strange-looking creature standing silently in the bushes staring back at him. He described the creature as not very big, but smaller than a human and covered in dark fur. The witness had never seen anything like it before. Fortunately, he was able to quickly snap a picture before the creature took off. The image is now being examined by experts to determine what the creature could be. While it's uncertain, some have speculated that it could be an Australian yowie, a mythical creature similar to Bigfoot that's said to haunt the Australian wilderness. Others believe it could be a previously unknown species of animal. At this point, no one knows for sure what the creature in the image is, but what do you think though? A yowie or something else entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments section. What do you think this is? The individual who sent it believed he'd run into a creature of the night, but after careful scrutiny... Wait, actually, no, there was no careful scrutiny here, just scrutiny. So after some scrutiny by me, I realized it was nothing but an owl. I mean, you guys can see it too, right? Wouldn't it have been funny if I made a whole section about a monster that was nothing more than an owl? Now, we all remember how the COVID-19 pandemic started a few years ago, leaving the entire world in a state of panic and uncertainty. Just when we thought we were moving past the worst of global health crisis, a new and terrifying threat emerged from Japan. Reports have surfaced of a flesh-eating disease that has already affected 977 individuals. The news has sent shockwaves through the medical community and beyond as people brace themselves for the potential spread of this horrifying ailment. Health officials in Japan are working around the clock to understand the disease, how it spreads, and most importantly, how to treat and contain it. The rest of the world watches with bated breath, hoping that this outbreak can be controlled before it becomes a global crisis. The memories of lockdowns, social distancing, and constant vigilance are still fresh in everyone's mind. The idea of facing another global health threat, especially one as gruesome as a flesh-eating disease, is almost too much to bear. Some have called the whole thing fake. Others think it was grown in the lab as a weapon, whereas others believe this is nothing but fear-mongering. Now, peer-reviewed journals are yet to be released on the case, but if it's true, let's pray they get everything under control. The last thing the world needs is COVID 2.0 that's capable of eating your flesh. Mystical creatures are mystical for a reason. There's no way they can be real until people start showing these types of footage, and then everyone becomes confused. Take a look at this footage of what looks like a centaur. A woman is lying on the ground with the lower part of a horse, and there are two people standing over her. For those unfamiliar with the term, a centaur, a mythical creature with the upper body of a human and the lower body of a horse. They have been part of folklore and mythology for centuries. Seeing such a creature in what appears to be a modern real-world setting is mind-boggling. While I want to be excited and believe this is real, the most logical explanation is that this footage is a product of modern visual effects or elaborate costumes. What do you think? This next video could potentially offend some paranormal enthusiasts, but it does make some valid points. It features suspected Bigfoot footage that was released and debunked by a man. The creature in the footage looks strange and was reported to be a Bigfoot, but it looks nothing like your typical Bigfoot. The man used some sort of facial comparison technique to analyze the creature's facial features and proportions. The results showed that they didn't match those of a Bigfoot. Another thing that stood out was the way the creature blinked. It looked totally unnatural and not at all like how primates move their eyelids. The man concluded that the creature in the footage was animatronic, but that doesn't necessarily mean that every Bigfoot sighting is fake. Or, well, what do you think? So we received another perplexing footage. Take a look at it yourself. What do you see when you look at this? Well, the individual who sent this in believes he's captured none other than the legendary T-Rex. As much as I love dinosaurs, there's no way that's a T-Rex. Even if we can get over the size difference and how unstriking the supposed resemblance is, you have to agree that the movement is not one you would associate with a T-Rex. But then again, you see the clip too, don't you? What do you make of it? Have you ever seen an angry and crazy hippo? Well, today's your lucky day. Speaking of luck, that zookeeper is very fortunate to escape unscathed. The last thing you want to do is upset a hippo. Even lions avoid them. They are aggressive, strong, and almost indestructible. And those jaws, I repeat, the zookeeper is fortunate to not have experienced their bite force firsthand. Surviving a hippo attack requires staying calm, assessing the situation for signs of aggression, and slowly backing away while keeping an eye on the hippo's movements. Supposing you're in the wild and the hippo charges, seek higher ground or a sturdy structure, create distance, and use deterrents like loud noise or pepper spray if available. If attacked, protect yourself by curling into a ball with your head tucked. The zookeeper was able to do this instinctively, which might have saved him. Do you think you could have handled the situation better than him? Let us know in the comments section. Next, we have another clip that's almost unbelievable. Take a look. Tell me, do you see it too? Just so I know we're on the same page, do you see a man with eyes in his body? You do? Then I'm not so crazy after all. This clip was sent in to us by someone who claims to be suffering from a similar situation. Now, I know I already called myself a skeptic, but I find it hard to believe this is real. It's possible that the person who sent the clip may be suffering from something similar, but as far as this clip is concerned, the man in the video doesn't have multiple eyes on his body. We shared the clip with a friend who's an expert in all things VFX and CGI, and he stated that the clip had been altered. The man was filmed, and then some CGI was included. If you pay attention to the clip, you'll realize that it's a tad unnatural. He attributes this to the fact that the clip has been altered. Despite his strong stance, there are still some who believe that this is the real deal. They claim to have encountered such individuals and rationalize that the unnatural movements may only look like that because it was recorded on a low-quality device. What do you guys think? A couple were enjoying a peaceful camping trip in the forest until they discovered a strange print on the car window. Upon closer inspection, they realized it was a handprint that looked greasy and emitted an unpleasant odor. Initially, the man thought that his girlfriend was playing a prank on him, but she insisted that she had nothing to do with it.
I swear to God I'm not with you. That is what me up right there.
The handprint was slightly larger than that of a human and had distinctive features that resembled those of an animal, specifically a primate. It was a puzzling sight, and they couldn't help but wonder which animal could have left such a mark. Could it be a monkey, an ape, a gorilla, the legendary Bigfoot, or the famed and even more elusive Dogman? They carefully examined the print, trying to discern any clues that could help them solve this mystery. I have my own theories too, but today I want to hear yours. What do you think could have left such a mark? After a tsunami hit Japan, this creature was found washed up on the shores. It looks like a jellyfish without its tentacles. It was pinkish, and when someone used a stick to turn it over, they found the opening and its surface were sticky. As if this was not weird enough, someone decides to pour a bottle of Coke over this mysterious being, and to everyone's amazement, it reacts by shooting out white fluids. So what in the world could this strange creature possibly be? Is it a denizen of the deep, or perhaps it's an entirely new species previously unknown to science until this very moment? It's been a while, but we're back with it. Our community has been buzzing of late, and I thought, what better way to recognize some of you than to give you all another one of our bonus clips. Could you tell me what this is? If you can, please do tell me in the comments section. Start your comment with bonus and write the name of the creature as well as one fact on it. The best 5 comments will be featured in our next video. Good luck. Do you believe monsters exist? No? Well, how do you explain this? If this clip were taken in the ocean, I'd argue it was some species of octopus, but this was clearly recorded on land. The last time I checked, we didn't have such creatures living amongst us. Unless, of course, it's an undiscovered species of land animal. Everything would make sense if it were, but that doesn't appear to be the case. Once this hit our paranormal groups, it naturally went viral and the debate started. Some believed that this was a previously unknown species. Some also argued that this had to be alien. Others thought it was a mechanical device that had been perfectly positioned to appear as though it were alive. Others thought it was CGI and clearly a hoax. Personally, I don't have an opinion and I can't say for sure what it is, but I'm tempted to take the side of it being a mechanically set up device. Why? The answer is simple. Take a good look at the clip and you will realize that the creature, if we can call it that, only moves to and fro in a perfectly straight line. If this were real, I doubt any creature would move like that, especially when it's being threatened. The arms are also just moving around without any clear direction, almost as if it's some mechanical device that's been programmed to do so. You don't have to take my word for it, though. Perhaps that's the spirit of skepticism at work in me. Anyway, what do you guys think? Just take a look at this. It's a waterfall of fire cascading down the mountain, creating a mesmerizing scene before my eyes.
It just won't stop.
This is the legendary Yosemite Firefall, a spectacle that occurs every year from mid to late February when the sunset hits Yosemite's Horsetail Fall at a particular angle, giving it the illusion of a molten lava-like stream of fire. The contrast between the bright orange and red hues of the firefall and the dark, rugged landscape of the mountain creates an awe-inspiring vision that's hard to replicate. The Yosemite Firefall is a phenomenon that has been captivating people's imaginations for decades. It's a rare occurrence, and it lasts only for a short period, making it all the more special. It's a remarkable reminder of how nature can be both beautiful and powerful, and it's an unforgettable experience for anyone lucky enough to have witnessed it. If the devil were to walk among us, perhaps this is the form he would take. This chilling encounter was reported by someone who stumbled upon this enigmatic being perched on a hill in the dead of night. With its back turned to the camera, the creature's silhouette reveals a pair of ominous wings unfurling from its back and a horn-like projection. While it's reminiscent of the gargoyle, this entity appears larger and more human-like, evoking an unsettling aura of malevolence. Could this truly be the devil manifesting in our midst, or is there another explanation for this unearthly presence? Moving on, what do we have here? An 8-foot-long centipede-like creature? How is this even possible? The paranormal community has been buzzing with this video and people are divided on what it really is. Some are calling it a cryptid, while others are convinced it's edited footage, one made from clever CGI or special effects. Looking at it, I'm tempted to join the AI gang on this. Before Julius went on his trip, he saw this clip and told me there were no creatures like this. I did my research and found nothing too. Our in-house video editor also stated that this was more 3D than it was realistic. Looking at it again, I get where they're coming from, and I believe this is definitely not real. Despite this assertion, there are some who are unable to tell if it's real or not. Some have even advocated that it be killed. The only reason they will do that is if they believed it was real. This has left me wondering, am I thinking it isn't real because the two skeptics on my team convinced me that it was not, or is that really the case? Share your opinion. Do you think it's real? Or do you side with us in believing this is nothing but CGI? Speaking of thoughts, what are yours on divine intervention? Because the story I'm about to tell you might just blow your mind. The title of the world's luckiest man goes to Frane Selleck. For those unfamiliar with the name, Frane Selleck is a music teacher from Croatia whose life has been characterized by unbelievable escapes and near-death experiences that seem almost too incredible to be real. His story is a roller coaster of extraordinary events that have left many wondering if divine intervention played a role in his remarkable survival. In 1962, Frane was on a train that derailed and plunged into an icy river. 17 passengers drowned, but Frane managed to swim to safety with only a broken arm and hypothermia. The following year, during his first and only plane flight, the doors suddenly blew off and he was sucked out of the aircraft. Incredibly, he landed in a haystack and survived with minor injuries while the plane crashed, killing 19 people on board. But it didn't stop there. Over the years, Frane's life was dotted with more miraculous escapes. A bus crashed into a river, a car fire that engulfed his vehicle in flames, being hit by a city bus, and another car crash that saw his vehicle explode after he just managed to escape. In 1995, while driving on a mountain road, his car collided with a truck, causing his car to burst into flames. Miraculously, he managed to escape without any serious injuries. 2 years later, he narrowly avoided another fatal accident when he was struck by a bus in Zagreb, walking away with minor injuries once again. The most astounding part of Frane's story came in 2003 when he won the lottery, pocketing nearly $1 million. After all those years of close calls with death, it seemed the universe finally decided to reward him. What do you think? Does Frane's story make you believe in the possibility of divine intervention, or do you think it's all just a series of incredible coincidences? If you think you've seen it all, just take a look at this. This creature was seen on the water's surface. An observer zoomed in to capture the moment, and you notice that this creature looks strange. Could it be a sneaky eel, smoothly moving through the water, or perhaps a dangerous sea snake gliding with deadly accuracy? Well, no one can say for sure, but Julius says it's definitely CGI generated. What do you guys think? In a calm river, something extraordinary happens. A man steps into the water and effortlessly glides for it, moving with remarkable speed and grace. Can I even call it gliding? It's almost as though he was hovering and just levitating through the water. How can this man move so smoothly through the water? It feels like driving a knife through butter. It's like he's being pushed by an invisible force, effortlessly cutting through the water with each graceful movement. Is he some kind of hybrid creature, part human, part fish, a mix of two creatures? Who knows? A driver on the highway got the shock of a lifetime when this came driving by. It was a truck with a giant, mysterious object strapped to its trailer. Honestly, I don't even know how to describe this thing. It's enormous, and it's hard to tell if it's metallic or something else entirely. The shape is bizarre, almost otherworldly. Naturally, the internet has been buzzing with speculation. One commenter suggested it might be a sculpture being transported to an art exhibit or a museum. But with all the weirdness out there these days, it's hard not to be skeptical. Could it be some kind of top-secret government equipment, a prototype for a new type of vehicle or machinery? Maybe it's part of a movie set or something. The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes it so intriguing. There are some, however, who believe the whole thing is a hoax and a fake. What say you? Would you look at that? A table of pandas having a party. Very hilarious. Look at what the zookeepers have prepared for these fuzzy guys. 4 large pandas are sitting on wooden chairs around a table of food, munching away. Such an adorable sight to see. These pandas, with their big round faces and playful behavior, always manage to bring a smile to our faces. The zookeepers have set up a delightful spread of bamboo and other treats, making it look like a proper panda feast. It's heartwarming to see the pandas enjoying their meal, almost like a group of friends.
There's nothing there. It's like not a piece of hair, but it's like this line. I know I'm not crazy. What is that?
This next one I'm gonna need your help with. A lady allegedly noticed a line in her pool. If you know anything about water, you know lines don't just form in it unless there's something in it to cause the line or something above it to cause a reflection. If you watch the clip, you should see the lines, but here's where it gets tricky. The lady insists none of the factors I mentioned earlier exist. The line just appeared over the water. I have a hard time pushing this one down, but maybe, just maybe you guys can help us make sense of it.
There's nothing there. It's like not a piece of hair, but it's like this line. I know I'm not crazy. What is that?
Hey! 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 Oh my God!
An elderly couple set out for a peaceful fishing trip, but it turned into a heart-pounding ordeal. As they were on their boat, they noticed a massive ship heading straight toward them. One of them quickly realized the danger, shouting and waving to get the ship's attention, but nothing worked. With no other choice, they jumped overboard just in time before the ship crashed into their small boat. The entire incident was captured on their boat's camera, showing the terrifying collision. What could have caused this near-tragic event? Was the ship's captain asleep at the wheel, or was it an autopilot malfunction? Thankfully, the couple escaped unscathed.
Hey! 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 Oh my God!
Stepping away from all things demonic, we look to the sky. You see it too, don't you? That cloud definitely looks like a man in motion. Is this just a case of pareidolia, or do we really have something on our hands? See, I'm not saying much about this one. You guys are going to do that in the comments section. This video is rumored to showcase a skinwalker, you know, the creature from Native American folklore known for its ability to shapeshift. In the footage, there's something strange riding a horse along the seashore.
The creature looks off, almost unnatural as it gallops by. Its appearance seems distorted, and the way it moves feels unsettling, like something isn't quite right. Now, some people are claiming this could be edited footage, which would explain why it looked so strange and unreal, but then again, there's always the possibility that it could be something unexplained. What do you think? Birds are beautiful creatures, sure, but sometimes they seem to have other plans. Imagine this. A woman is casually holding her phone, filming herself, when suddenly, out of nowhere, a bird dives straight at her face. She barely dodges it in time. Before you brush it off as an innocent mistake, let's look at it in slow motion. The bird's flight path, laser focused on her eyes. It's almost as if it had a vendetta. A perfectly normal day turns into a new phobia unlocked. Fear of birds going straight to your face, or worse, your eyes. So the next time you see a bird flying a bit too close, maybe duck. You never know if it's just flying by or trying to make you its next target. This unsettling footage circulating on social media has sparked widespread debate. It shows a man entering a bedroom only to encounter a bizarre creature on the bed. The creature appears to have a clown-like face, the small stature of a child, and moves on all fours. Most disturbingly, it has a reptilian tail that sways unnervingly as it moves. While the footage looks startlingly realistic, many believe it to be AI-generated or heavily edited using CGI. With the advancements in AI and deepfake technology, creating lifelike yet fictional imagery has become increasingly accessible, making it challenging to discern authenticity. What do you think? Could this footage be a clever fabrication or something else entirely? This video is from China, and it's definitely raising eyebrows. In the footage, there are massive glowing lights illuminating the sky from behind the clouds. What's really odd is that the lights don't seem to be part of any cloud formation. They look too solid and focused to be natural. Some viewers are quick to say this could be evidence of a UFO hiding behind the clouds, using them as cover to stay out of sight. It's easy to see why people are drawn to the idea of something extraterrestrial. The way the lights hover and seem to move subtly makes it feel like there's something intentional about them. Could it be some kind of advanced technology at play, or maybe it's just a strange weather phenomenon? Whatever the case, the footage certainly leaves room for imagination.
Does anyone know what this creature...
Remember this footage from a few videos ago? Well, we finally figured out what that mysterious creature is. This, my friend, is a bristleworm, specifically called a bearded fireworm. These little guys may look harmless, but don't be fooled, they're not to be touched. Their bristles can easily penetrate the skin, delivering a painful sting that feels like fire, hence the name. The sting can cause severe irritation, swelling, and a burning sensation that could last for hours or even days. These creatures are usually found in warm, shallow waters of the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea, often hiding among coral reefs and rocky crevices. What makes them even more dangerous is how they feed. They scavenge on small sea creatures, and their venomous bristles are a defense mechanism against larger predators. Beautiful, but deadly. These worms remind us that nature's most vibrant colors often come with a warning. Would you dare get close to one if you saw it in the wild?
A man was home alone when he started hearing strange noises coming from the attic. Initially, he thought it might be a raccoon or some other animal that had managed to sneak in, so he decided to check it out. When he got to the attic, everything seemed normal at first. The space was silent, and there was nothing unusual in sight. But just as he was about to leave, something chilling happened. The chairs that had been neatly arranged in the attic suddenly began moving on their own, thumping violently against the floor. It was loud and aggressive. This was no ordinary animal making that noise. It seems he wasn't alone as he thought. What could this be? An invisible entity? A poltergeist? Okay, maybe that's stretching it too far, but what do you think?
Seriously? Hi, my friend. Holy.
Speaking of Bigfoot, have you guys heard the legend of the white Sasquatch? And no, I'm not referring to the Yeti. Instead, a Bigfoot in America that's white. Well, up until today, I'd called all white-looking Bigfoots the Yeti. This clip is trying to prove me otherwise, though. If you pay attention to the clip you're watching, you should see a white furry creature within it. Although this clip isn't the best quality, please tell me that you see it. The individual who uploaded it insists that it's the real deal, and I want it to be, but my video editor has some rather interesting concerns. According to him, it looks like the face we are seeing was digitally inserted instead of being recorded. If it was digitally inserted, then the clip is doctored and the whole thing is fake. I don't want to come off sounding like a non-believer in the big guys, so you guys tell me what you think. Do you agree with my video editor, or do you think he's one of the government spies sent to prevent us from seeing and believing the truth? Please answer carefully, as your answer will determine if he stays on the team. We can't have no government spies on our team.
Seriously? Hi, my friend.
Have you ever seen a cloud like this? An observer shared a video online of a very peculiar cloud formation that's left many people baffled. The cloud appears to have these straight, clean lines, almost as if it were shaped like a ruler. It's so perfectly outlined that it doesn't even seem real at first glance. It's not the typical, fluffy, irregular clouds we're used to seeing. This one looks unnaturally geometric, as though someone carved it out of the sky. Some people are suggesting it could be a rare atmospheric phenomenon, while others think it might be tied to some form of weather manipulation or even something more mysterious. Could this be natural, or is there something more going on here? Next, we visit India, where this clip was captured. What comes to mind when you see this? UFO? UAP? The individual who uploaded this believes it's an alien ship. It looks like a ship with lights beneath it. I'm not sure why it's that visible, because these ships usually have the ships trying to cloak themselves. This one, on the other hand, is doing the opposite, but you have to wonder, why are there so many UFO clips of late? Also, how come they're becoming bolder in their approach and not cloaking themselves? Are they sending us a message? Is there something we need to prep for? These thoughts keep me up at night.
In this footage, people were dining in a diner when a woman walked in. She was wearing a white robe resembling a nightgown and began throwing items around the counter. Everyone backed away from her, except for one man who tried to approach. She then threw a bowl at him and held what appeared to be a spoon in her hand, wielding it like a knife. She began walking toward him, forcing him to back away cautiously. Some have labeled this as a case of possession where spirits take over a person and cause unusual behavior. Others believe it could be a sign of mental illness, such as a breakdown or a psychotic episode. What do you think is happening here? While working on a night shift at an unnamed port, this was heard. Yup, that's definitely a woman screaming. That's definitely not normal and definitely not something you would expect to hear at the port. If it were the woods at odd hours, we may be tempted to think it's paranormal, but this has to be real. But if it is real, it can only mean one thing: human trafficking. That's exactly what the individual filming thought was happening, so he went back again to film, and this time he heard something a little bit different. Listen.
Hey, we up here, we did see
It almost sounds the same, right? When he discussed it with colleagues, they told him it was faulty equipment, but he still couldn't shake off the feeling. He refused to share personal information or which exact port this was recorded for his own safety, but what do you guys think?
Hey, we up here, we did see
In the next footage, a man was filming the night sky when something strange happened. As he panned his camera, he noticed a shadowy figure seemingly falling from the sky. The figure plummeted silently and disappeared behind a tall building in the distance. It's hard to tell what exactly this could be. Was it some kind of creature, a bird, maybe even something paranormal? The way it fell was eerie, almost too smooth for a human or animal. Some people might speculate that it might be a malfunctioning drone, but without any clear footage or follow-up, it's difficult to say for sure. What do you think could explain such an unsettling sight? Imagine exploring the woods at night and hearing this sound. I don't know about you, but I have a feeling my blood may run dry. This was captured, or should I say recorded, by a man who was just outside the woods one evening. It didn't sound like any sound he was accustomed to hearing, but that wouldn't be the last time he heard it. Naturally, the odd sounds began to worry him, and he took the internet to ask for help. Many who heard it were convinced either a Bigfoot or a dogman was responsible for the sounds. Personally, I can understand why he thought that, but let's hear your thoughts. What do you think? Are demons real? Before you say yes or no, take a look at this clip.
The hell is that? The hell? The hell is that?
Do you see that? Does that look like any creature you ever seen in your life? No, right? Well, the individual who uploaded this insists it's a demon. He claims strange things have been happening and he just couldn't place his fingers on why and how they were happening. He decided to take a good look around, and that's when he discovered this. He believes it's a demonic being lurking around the area, but not many of his folks agree with him. He thinks they're just scared and find it easier to say demons don't exist rather than face them. He's been collecting opinions on this, and views have been divided. Which side will you pick on this one, demonic or not? Let's hear your thoughts.
Grabbing a lemon, right? I cut it in half, and then I cut it in half once more, right there. You can see me cut it, right? I go get a bag. Okay, I grab the bag, I go back for the lemon, and I grab the lemon, and I touch it, and I'm like, why is it not cut in half?
Next up, we got this young girl who cuts a lemon in 2 equal halves. She then picks one of those halves and further divides it. Once she's done, she grabs a bag to put them in, and she's met with the surprise of her life. Somehow, the half she cut had glitched back together. She was so shocked she went for the security cam footage to confirm she'd cut it, and she had indeed done so. This made her believe she was dealing with some glitch in the Matrix. Watch the clip again and let us know what you think.
Grabbing a lemon, right? I cut it in half, and then I cut it in half once more, right there. You can see me cut it, right? I go get a bag. Okay, I grab the bag, I go back for the lemon, and I grab the lemon, and I touch it, and I'm like, why is it not cut in half?
An adventurer was out in the woods at night, likely hoping to capture something thrilling, but his adventure was cut short when he started hearing eerie sounds. It wasn't just any sound, it was the screams of a woman yelling, "Help me." He looked around, searching for any signs of someone in distress, but found nothing. Feeling uneasy, he quickly left and returned home. In the comments, one person shared a chilling experience. The person yelling in the woods, "I heard the same thing. A woman. It was very scary, actually. Still comes to mind after 5 years." Many people in the paranormal community would call this a classic case of skinwalker activity. Skinwalkers are said to mimic the sounds of humans to lure in the next victim. But what would you do if you heard someone calling for help in the woods, especially in the dead of night? Would you investigate or trust your gut and leave? A homeowner in South Carolina experienced something truly unsettling when he was jolted awake by eerie noises echoing outside in the middle of the night. Rather than risk going outside, he opted to check his porch's security camera footage, and what he found was enough to send chills down anyone's spine. The video didn't reveal any visible creatures, but it captured the haunting sounds that filled the night air. These were no ordinary animal calls. The noise had a strange and unsettling quality, a mix of long, drawn-out howls and low, rumbling growls. It was the kind of sound that immediately sparked curiosity and fear in those who heard it. Many viewers of the footage commented that it resembled the vocalizations commonly associated with cryptids like Bigfoot or the mysterious Dogman. Some even speculated the eerie howls might belong to a werewolf. One viewer suggested it could be a black bear, while another thought it might be the call of the mountain lion. But the combination of those deep growls and bone-chilling howls left many baffled. What could this be? We still don't have the more convincing answer for our previous bonus question, but maybe this one might change that. Can anyone tell if this is real or fake? If it's real, what's its real name, and why does it look like that? Let's see how many of us can tell a conspiracy theory from the truth. All the best.
If you're in one of these alien crafts,
that's what you're gonna see.
You're gonna see exactly this. Not an exaggeration, not some type of Hollywood mock-up from a first-hand witness.
Now this one actually had me puzzled for a long while. He claims this is exactly what you would find on an alien spaceship. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. This is crazy. Well, if you said that, then it's only because you don't know who that man is. Meet Bob Lazar, a controversial figure who claims to have worked on reverse engineering alien spacecraft at the secure facility called S4, allegedly near Area 51 in the late 1980s. He's described advanced propulsion systems using Element 115, which he said powered the craft through anti-gravity technology by bending space-time. Despite his claims sparking widespread interest in UFOs and Area 51, Lazar's credibility is hotly debated due to inconsistencies in his educational and professional background, which critics attribute to fabrication, while supporters believe it's part of a government cover-up. His story remains a cornerstone of modern UFO lore, blending intrigue, skepticism, and speculation about extraterrestrial technology and government secrecy. If his stories are true, then perhaps he's really been in a spaceship and knows what the interior is. If not, then, well, let's not talk about that. On to the next clip.
If you're in one of these alien crafts,
that's what you're gonna see.
You're gonna see exactly this. Not an exaggeration, not some type of Hollywood mock-up from a first-hand witness.
Still on strange creatures captured near a water body, take a look at this clip. When the clip starts, we're introduced to nothing but a rocky surface. Before you can start wondering if this is landscape videography, you get your answer. It's not. There's a ginormous creature moving on the rocks from the left. The individual recording pans the camera to the right, and a similar thing occurs. There's another creature coming into view on the right as well. Judging by their size in relation to the rocks, they look like they would be giants, but their bodies are also oddly shaped. The individual kept their distance recorded and then left the place. Once in a safe place, they uploaded the clip online and asked if the paranormal community knew what they were looking at. Some thought they were aliens, while others thought they had to be Bigfoots or human giants. I'm not going to ask the boys about this because I already know their opinions. You, on the other hand, may have opinions I haven't thought of, so what do you think we're dealing with here?
This man, who goes by the name Dustin, was home alone one night when he ordered food through DoorDash. As he waited for his delivery, he suddenly heard a knock on the door. Thinking it was his food, he opened it, but there was no one there. Confused, he stepped outside and looked around. That's when he noticed something eerie across the street. Standing near a tree, it was a woman, but she didn't look normal. Her complexion was pale and corpse-like, her hair was messy and cut short, and she wore a long white robe with a black hat. She just stood there, facing his house, unmoving. A wave of fear rushed over Dustin. He quickly locked the door and ran to the bathroom, trying to shake off the unsettling feeling. But before he could catch his breath, loud, aggressive knocks pounded against his door. He cautiously peeked out the window, but there was no one at the door. The woman, however, was still there, still standing by the tree, still staring at his house. Dustin believes she's some kind of entity, but no one truly knows who or what she is. And with that, we end today's episode. Thanks for staying with us. Before you go, are there clips and videos you think we should have featured by now that we haven't? Well, the good news is you can share them with us and we'll post them crediting you. Please send any such footage, including ones you recorded yourself, to us via classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll do our thing and include it in our next episode. We can't wait to receive what you have. Share this video with someone you love, and I will see you in the next one.